Previously on It's My Job to Know Yours.
What's up, Thea? How are you today?
Hey.
But you are a casting director.
Yes, I am.
So you starting off music, right? And you're working with like John Legend, and you mentioned like T-Pain.
When I was younger, my mom was in the music industry. I used to go to the record stores and put up posters, and a new artist would come to town. We weren't called influencers back then. We were called tastemakers. And then I honestly worked every single job. I'm trying to fast forward to the casting part. I got a Beats by Dre commercial with Cam Newton. Like, that was my first big thing that I got on my own. So I was doing the styling, or basically putting uniforms together, for the people, and, telling the actors what to bring, and shopping and doing that. And then casting at the same time to give people who deserve a position, or, get people closer to their dream. Like, yes, I do not take it for granted.
If you don't know Thea, you're going to get to know her in this episode. Where were we?
So I was working at the production company, and people were dropping like flies. So I started casting there. But not only did I cast for Copycat Killers at Story House, our PA, which is this guy named Graham Lawyer, who is amazing. He was our PA. He ended the series being our assistant director, and it was like me, Sarah, who I love forever, and Brian Bullock. We were all, it was like 4 of us, and this was my first show. So I didn't know that on most shows, crime shows, they have like 2 teams. One team that does the pre-production or episode 1, and then the other team does episode 2.
Right.
It was all of us doing, we would do like 1 episode for like prep for like maybe 3 days, and then shoot for like 3 days later. Like it was just crazy. Brian would do like locations and like it was so insane. And we did have a PA, Tom, who was super cool. It was insane. Like, we would be working on set for like 14 plus hours. Mind you, I live in Baltimore. Most of the shoots, the office is in Georgetown.
Right.
So that's like a 2-hour drive easy, without
rush
traffic.
hour.
Well, with or without traffic, it's like
DC. It's like an hour and a half.
Well, DC is like an hour and 15 minutes usually, but Georgetown is in the middle from Baltimore.
You drive slow.
I might, but I would be in traffic. Like,
Yeah.
you know how the traffic is. Like, one time.
Coming out here this morning was insane.
Yeah. So, it was just a grind, and I brought on Dwight, one of my friends, who later became like an assistant, friend, partner. It was thug life, okay, but and I kind of count Story House as I give it the credit as like my film school. I was a part of the film program. Shout out to my professor, Eleanor Earl. She's amazing at Hampton University. Love you so much. But this was my physical film school, learning how to basically run a set. Like, we even have a picture where I was holding the boom, doing makeup, and it was just crazy.
But that sets you up for success.
Absolutely.
Because remember when you were talking about that show that I was late to that day?
Uh-huh.
What had happened was it was like, sometimes when it rains, it pours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had been up all night long working, and then at about 9 a.m., as I was about to go home and go to sleep, I get an email from this director. He called me up, and he was like, can you be on set in Philly? How soon can you be in Philly? And that was the film. It's called Sanctuary with Eric Benet, who
I love Eric Benet.
He was the sweetest man. I
got
to work with him.
Celebrities are like,
he is
amazing.
Do you know him?
I don't know him personally, but his first album, his first tape, I used to play it like over and over and flip it over. And he's extra cool because he's like Prince adjacent. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his wife was once married to Prince.
Really?
Yeah.
So I didn't know much.
And he was once married to Halle Berry.
Oh my!
You didn't know that?
I don't know. I never heard of him before I worked with him that day.
He
He was so
the bare
sweet,
feet
the
legend.
nicest. I've met a lot of famous people working in the music business and working in whatever. Not everyone is not Eric, but he is so sweet and
That
so
makes
kind.
me so happy.
He gave me a compliment. He was talking about my voice. It's on my Instagram caption. I posted it. He spelled it out for me. It was really, really nice. But I'd been up all night long, right? And then I go to this shoot, which is an all day shoot. So I'm like, sure, it was through my agent, whatever. I'll be in Philly in 2 hours, right? No sleep, it's fine. I get to Philly, we shoot all day through the night. While I'm on set, on no sleep, they're like, you have a call time tomorrow for 9 a.m. I get an email from you to be on set the next day. And I was like, got it. So that night we wrapped. They had a wrap party because it was like the martini shot. It was when they were ending.
Nice.
I didn't stay for the wrap party. It's 1:30 in the morning or something. I'm leaving. I didn't get home until 3 or 4 a.m. I pack all my wardrobe, whatever it is. I go to film, you know, the show that you put me on, and then by day 2 I was just so out of sleep and so whatever. But that's my personality. That's normal. And it's like, if you aren't down for that, this is not the industry for you. If you can't work 6 jobs on a not that you should, but if you can't, then you don't have the stamina to make it in the industry. And I think that you need to like push yourself. That's the definition of pushing yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm conflicted with both. Like, I used to have that grind, that hustle, but I'm 35 now. So I'm like, if it's meant for me, it'll be. If not, you know. But I did put in.
It's called paying your dues.
Okay.
And you paid your dues, right? Meaning this is how you got your start in casting. So sure, if somebody called you up today and said, hey, work 6 jobs on a whatever show, you would hang up the phone. But the reason you're able to hang up the phone is because you did those 6 jobs all those years ago. Yeah. So it's a you know, it's a marathon. It's you build up your career. You know what I mean? And even for me, like I believe in setting goals that are attainable. Right? My goal is not to win an Oscar, right? Because it might be a goal down the line, but that's not attainable right now, right? So my next goal is to get a speaking role on a network or streaming television show, right? So I've done a lot of cable TV, done a lot of commercials, done a lot of short films and whatever. So that's my next goal. Once I reach that goal, I want to reach the next goal and next goal and next goal. And you push yourself little by little. It's climbing a ladder, you know? You posted on your Instagram the other day, and I loved this, and I said it in a different episode. You don't eat the fruit the day you plant the seed.
That's right.
Right?
That's
and
right.
that is the truth. You put in the work, you put in the work, you put in the work, and then you look back and like, I remember my first goal was I just want to be an extra in a film or something, which I snuck onto a movie set when I was in LA, and I got to meet Steve Carell, and that was a lot of fun. That was a story.
Nice.
But yeah, and then it was like, all right, now I want to be able to get to an audition. Now I want to be able to this and that. And that's how you kind of move forward with your career, with your life, and manifest your dreams.
Absolutely. I definitely believe in manifestation for sure.
You know how you say that you learned the entertainment, the acting industry by working at Storyhouse? I learn acting on these true crime shows because you really, really learn how a set runs. You really, you know, like with the monitors and, you know, back at one and whatever it is. And yeah, you're not really getting a lot of screen time, but you're learning what a set functions like.
Absolutely.
And, you know, when they would call cut and they'd be like, you can go to holding, I was like, no, I want to stay on set and watch the director. Because, like, I want to learn the industry. And if I never got a chance to go to film school or acting school or any of that stuff, so this is going to be my education. And I would watch and I would kind of shadow the DPs, and they were like, who is this actor that's following us around? But that's kind of my thing, you know.
Actors don't do that because that's not okay.
Follow, not look.
No,
don't get in the way. Don't get in the way.
But I don't want actors to start doing that. Like, oh, I just want to, you know what I'm saying?
Look, here's the thing. I break.
I like that you did that.
I break
like
all the rules.
Yeah.
I break all the. I always say, break the rules, not the law. You know.
Break the rules, not the law. Okay.
Yeah, that's been my life philosophy. And
mine is acts. Forgiveness, not permission.
I'd rather ask. That's my other line that I live by. That was my line that I always live by. I'd rather ask for forgiveness and permission. But it's kind of true, right? Because remember I told you I snuck onto a film set when I was in LA. What happened was I saw this, like, it was my first time in LA, and I did 2 films, whatever. One of them was I was walking at the Grove. You know the Grove? It's like that big outdoor mall, and they were shooting a movie, and I was like, can I be in it? Can I be in? They were like, sure, it's a concert scene. show up, whatever. The next day I saw this like casting call, whatever, for it's called Be in a Movie. They were filming a movie called Battle of the Sexes with Steve Carell and Emma Stone. And they were like, show up. It's in the 70s. Wear something 70s-esque. We got to fill a stadium.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. It was my first time on a movie set. So I arrive early, and they're like, all right, if you're from this casting call thing, you're waiting and holding. But then they had all of the featured extras, the ones who were from like central casting, who all had, you know, they were getting paid to be there, and they all got their hair and makeup done and wardrobes and styled, and, you know, they were looking like they were in the 70s. And they were all marching to set, followed by a PA, and I just snuck in line with them because I'm getting my close up. Yeah. And I snuck in, you know, with them, and then this PA who doesn't know anything, because you're in this huge production, they're like, all right, you sit here, you sit here, you sit here, and they put me right front and center in front of the camera. They're shooting, and I am talking to all of these people, and I am taking notes on my phone. No one else had their phones because they had to leave it on holding, but I wasn't really supposed to be there. So I'm taking notes, and they were explaining to me what union was, SAG, central casting, whatever. I was learning it. I was learning it. Then halfway through the day, the wardrobe person came out, you know, and like came to touch up everyone and was like, who are you? And I was like, I don't know. They told me to sit here. They're like, get out. But it was halfway through the day. I got to meet Steve Carell. I think I got my camera time. I learned all the information I want, and then I left. You know, and did I ruin the movie? No. You know, and I got the experience that I needed out of it, and that was my next, you know, phase of getting me to where I needed to get to. And that is kind of how I've always lived my philosophy. Why am I on this show? I don't know, because I decided to. Yeah. You know, and that's like and I think you have that mentality a little bit too. So yeah, actors don't be in the way. But when they say, okay, go back to holding, and you want to stand in the corner with your arms folded and kind of just look at what they're doing.
What you did when you say you started talking to all the actors, that's what I tell actors, because they look at each other like, oh, that's my competition. No, that's how you learn like who's casting what. You can't get every single role. That's how you learn about the different sites. Like, it's always a new site. It's always a new casting direct. Well, not new casting director.
It's always Thea Washington. That's it. The one and only.
No, but like you learn about the different, you know, open calls and what it was like working for this person, or should you go union or stay non-union? Like, you know, should you get an agent? Like, you get to see what people say from an unbiased, well, I'm not going to say unbiased, because actors like to do this thing, like when they used to come to set, like when I was on House of Cards.
Yeah, everyone's always name dropping.
Always. And it's like, yo, y'all are all on the same playing field right now.
Now it's Wonder Woman. Every person in this town was on Wonder Woman. Every person. And, you know, even last week when I was filming that show, and he was like, oh, I did this with Gal Gadot. And I was like, yeah, well, I talked to her in Hebrew, and this one's like blah, blah, blah. And everyone did it. But when House of Cards was shooting here, that was before my time. I started acting after, but every person was on House of Cards. Yeah. You know.
How was your experience on Wonder Woman?
I loved it. I got to meet Patty Jenkins. I got to meet Gal Gadot. I got to meet Chris Pine. It was really, really cool. You are treated like cattle when you're working for such a huge film, and I don't blame them. They have, you know, it's a billion-dollar movie.
That's with that company.
Look, I loved my experience. It was a great experience.
Don't say anything to mess you up.
But what I'm saying is, I'm not gonna say anything that messes me up. But when you're working as a background actor, because I was background, you know, whatever, featured background, whatever you want to call it. When you're a background actor, you are the bottom of the totem pole, especially on a high production set. You know, in a movie like Wonder Woman,
you gotta treat everybody like.
Yeah, I mean, but the people, but when I say I was treated like cattle, I'm talking about the PAs. Everyone's on an ego trip, right? Patty Jenkins was amazing. The PAs, of course, because they're working on whatever. So like, I'm sitting there. We're filming in the middle of August. It's probably like 90 something degrees out in DC. I'm in a 3-piece suit that's in tweed, you know, because it's also like the 70s. These big glasses, whatever. I'm choked up, whatever it is, and we're filming all day long. We're filming this chaos scene where we're doing a lot of running nonstop, over and over and over and over again for 12 hours straight. So like towards the end of the day, I like sat down on the grass, and this like PA started yelling at me. She's like, "Is that your suit? No, that's not your clothes. So why are you getting it ruined in the grass?" I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And then I was like, "Can I have coffee?" She's like, "No, this is just for whatever." So not to like, look, I get it. It was an amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, I loved it, and I'm not throwing shade at anyone or anything, but when you're a background actor, it is. That's paying your dues on some level.
It is.
You know, versus when you do a short film for Towson, you know, granted, no one's really going to see it, but you're not that no one's going to see it. It's going to a couple festivals. This is not, you know, Wonder Woman, but, and shout out to Alan. That's how I met Alan. He cast me in his short film. When, you know, that's how we met. The rest is history. And now we're in love. But, yeah, keep the change. Check it out. But he cast me. And that's how now I have a producer for the show because you do that. So I like the interpersonal relationships you create on the smaller sets and the smaller shows. And that's where you really find your people and blossom into your career rather than on Wonder Woman. No one's going to notice you there. You know what I mean? You got to work your way up, not join a $1 billion movie. You got to start with the small people and create a $1 billion movie.
I think you could do times you could be on a huge production and, you know, if one person acts up or, you know, it could be like a featured or a supporting and they might say, I want you.
Yes, that does happen.
I've done it.
Patty actually is known for that. Patty Jenkins from Wonder Woman. She actually is known to just give out lines to extras and like people got their SAG cards from Wonder Woman in minutes.
Yeah.
You know, people who had never acted a day in their life. And it's I've seen it before. Yeah, I've seen it before. I've seen it happen, but that's you're waiting for that stroke of luck. You're waiting for someone to notice you. I don't do that shit. I don't wait for someone to notice me.
If you're in that situation several times over, you're most likely going to get noticed by being there than not.
Of course, and that's why you show up. But my personal preferences is I'd rather be the leading actor of a short film for Towson than being a background actor for a multi-million-dollar movie.
Okay, that makes sense because that looks better on your reel versus playing Where's Waldo.
Right,
you know,
and you're getting to actually act. You're getting to actually hone your craft versus you're a live prop in the corner.
Basically.
Yeah, but back to literally, Jesus.
No, but your philosophy is kind of like my philosophy. Because we're not at LA or a New York, it's kind of being a big fish in a small pond.
Yes.
So I'm not just like in New York, you just do one thing. In LA, you just do, you know, motion pictures or broad, you know, whatever. So here, working here as a casting director, I get to do reality. I get to do corporate stuff. I get to do, like, I just had a project wrap this weekend. Prayerfully, everything went great with National Geographic. So just all types of stuff. And I do tons of commercials. So I love the philosophy of like going where the love is, going where you're appreciated, and being a big fish in a small pond. Like I choose to stay here because I have a kid. And
right. Yeah. Do you, and also you're well known. Everyone in this town knows your name. Everybody, you know, and there's something to be said about that. Even if you build yourself up in a small market, your bills are paid, you're getting to do what you love, and you're not in a oversaturated world. My thing is I'm going to try to build all this experience out here and then go out to LA.
Yeah,
and
that's
kind
how
of,
you do it.
Because my friends in LA who I'd met then, you know, when I was there, they've been struggling to get a single TV credit. And now I have like 8 because of all this cable TV that I did, which looks great in a resume.
Absolutely. And we have prime location because not only can you work in Baltimore, you can work in D.C.
In Philly.
You can work in Virginia. Philly is right there. Delaware, I heard, got like a new tax credit.
Jersey, New York.
Jersey. Like
Atlanta,
I know so many people
Atlanta's
that work.
huge now.
Yeah. And people work in New York as locals. They put local on their resume and just get on the bus and go.
Yeah, for casting networks, I'm considered a New Yorker because my family's from Jersey. I'm right there, and that's So, do you have a preference in what you like to cast when it comes to like all these different avenues?
I love commercials because it's like it pays very well. Usually, I get to pay the actors very well, and it's a short commitment. So, and I get to work with so many different people. So I love commercials.
Do you have a flat rate that you ask for? Is it generally a percentage off of like the actors and stuff? Like do you kind of like an agency, or is it just like your fee and then the actors?
It just depends on how the production is set up. Like for television shows, I have a weekly rate, and for special projects, I usually try to meet that weekly rate over the course of how long I'll be on that. For commercials, I have a flat rate, and I charge the production company usually 10% because there's a difference between casting 2 people and casting 200 people.
Right.
So, and I'll need, to hire on for that project. if I'm casting 200 people, to make sure that they're happy, and everything goes right into place. For commercials, I'll do the 10% for them. Sometimes I do the 10% for the actors. I am going to do that moving forth, I believe, because a lot of agencies, they do that, and we're in such like a niche market. And the way that I operate my business is kind of like A-type personality, because I want to make sure that everything goes smoothly and they don't have to worry about anything actor. So I handle everything depending on what they prefer, but I like to handle everything from talking to hair and makeup ahead of time to make sure that they know what type of hair, a lot of people say they do multicultural, but I have to make sure that it is inclusive of Black people, and ethnic hair. Because sometimes, they think it's just like, oh, the wet and wavy, whatever. Like, I have to speak the language and make sure that they get what they're getting, and make sure that a lot of us switch our hair up a lot. So I make sure that they know. And also come prepared with like wardrobe, or I'll give wardrobe the sizes and create a list for the actors to bring for backup, because you never want to hold anything up because you gained a few pounds and can't fit the clothes, or it's Italian cut and not regular U.S. sizes. I also make sure that they get the scripts and get the call sheets.
You are very on top of your shit, and I know that because when you showed up on set the other day.
Yeah.
When I was there, and you knew every actor, you knew every you're like, this is my third set of the day for my third production. I'm making sure things are running smooth, and it's like you're on it. You show up, you're there, you whatever. But speaking of actors, what are some of the worst things that actors do in auditions? Like talk to me a little bit about that. Like, what are the stuff that piss you off, the pet peeves that go on? Like, what's the number one mistake actors make when auditioning for stuff?
Number one thing that they do when auditioning. Send me a reel where I have to like, wait, where are you in it? Like, what?
The background of House of Cards.
Yeah. And it's like, it's great that it's House of Cards, but like you said, if you're doing like a small Towson project, shout out to Robbie and Grady at Towson. But yeah, it just makes more sense to do a project where and submit that a part of your reel versus being in the background on like a bigger show. So that is a thing. Calling me the night before, not the night before, I don't mind, but texting me constantly and texting me super late and you're not shooting the next day, that is a pet peeve. Sometimes being a little too personal, that is a pet peeve of mine. Like, if we work together and things go cool, we'll probably be cool. We'll probably be friends. I'll book you again. But don't be like, I don't know how to explain it. But you know how people are like over familiar and like
no stay in your lane,
kinda like I know I'm very approachable, but it's like this like, I don't work for you, like, no,
you're here to do a job. It's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah
With the casting directors and actors, it's like, you're here to do a job, you're here to whatever, we'll be friendly, we'll be whatever, but at the end of the day you go home to your life and they should go home to theirs and not think, oh my God, you put me on a show, now we're best friends. Let's,
Like, I'll book you. You don't have to. I mean, that sounds so cold. I don't want to say that. It's just
your talent should speak for itself.
Yeah, your talent should speak for itself. It's great to be polite. However, I do have a son, Bruce Wayne, that I love so much.
He's
so
cute.
A lot of my time is dedicated to him. I have a boyfriend that's amazing. So I like to cut things off at a certain time. So it can get overwhelming when people text me and call me after hours, or, I might not have had their number saved in, and they're like, so what do you think of da-da-da-da? And I'm like, wait, am I shooting tomorrow? Like, I have like
I'm having dinner with my family.
Yeah, or I'll have like an anxiety attack because I don't have this number saved in. What are you talking about? And it's like a person that I just...
Do they get like stalky ever?
I really don't have that problem too much. I did like back in the day at Story House, and I will say that Karsten came to my defense with this guy, and I saw him the other day, and not the other day, but I went to like a Towson, Maryland Film Festival. No, I forget what it was, but the Maryland Film Alliance Coalition, something like that, and I saw him there. And I wanted to be like, you mother. But
did you ever use the line, "You'll never work in this town again"? It's like such an old school like Hollywood trope.
I would love to, but nah. I had one actor who he basically did like a ransom thing with me. And he will never be cast by me ever again. He was like, oh, yeah, I'll do it. So I asked him, was he available both the days? I gave him the rate. Do you know he did the first shoot the first day? Fine, no problem, whatever. And I had called him last minute because, you know, sometimes it's a miscommunication. Like human error happens between, you know, the producer and the casting director. But we're not going to point fingers. We're just going to fix it. So I had him come and he was good with it. And then the next day he was like, if you want me to come to set, you're going to have to pay me. I think it was like $1,000. And it was like a crime show. So, you know, that doesn't pay a whole lot.
No.
So that's like triple, 3, 4 times his rate. And I was like, F him, let's reshoot, I don't care, blah, blah, blah. I looked him up, I took his picture, I sent it to everybody because he was like, no, I'm not coming. I said, I know what you did. And then he tried to put his girlfriend on the phone. You know who you are. That's why you've been working with me.
So what ended up, because whatever his rate that he was asking, it probably would have costed more to reshoot with all the cast and the crew and everything. So
my friend Tyler, who was the producer, was like, we're just gonna pay him. Like, let's just get it over with. We'll pay him. He was like, I'll take the blame, whatever. But I was like, he is lying. Like, he told me he was okay and available for both of these days. Like, don't pull that on me. Because, like, you know, if I like you, you'll work again and again and again. And I get a lot of work and good work.
Right. No, you do. That's 100% true.
So he burned a bridge for a quick $1,000.
That's so crazy. For me, I have, like, the complete opposite. When I did my very first show with Storyhouse, where, you know, I was doing an episode of Copycat Killers. And this was my first, like, TV role. So I was super excited and whatever. Yeah. And when I auditioned, the casting director at the time was like, I was like, oh, I'm not available on the last day. She was like, don't worry, you're not going to be needed for the last day. And I was like, all right, because it's my stepsister's wedding and she was marrying my childhood best friend that day, right, up in Jersey. She was like, it's fine, you're not going to have to be there. So it's fine. We were shooting throughout the week. I filmed day 1, 2, 3, whatever. And I was like, hey, it's my last day. And they're like, no, you're coming tomorrow. And I was like, the fuck I'm not, you know? And they're like, no, you're on the call sheet, whatever. And this was my first TV gig. And I was like, well, so-and-so told me I didn't have to, and they got on the phone and turned into a whole big deal. And they're like, well, we need you here. And I ended up doing the show, and I missed the wedding. I mean, look, it was my stepsister. Shout out to you, Tova. But it, you know, I love them and whatever, but I was like, look, if I want to take this acting thing serious, it's going to come with a lot of sacrifice. And that's kind of, and to me, like, I can't fathom like holding a television show hostage to make a couple of bucks. Mm-hmm. You know, that's so ridiculous.
And it's like, I refer people to stuff all the time. Like, even if I'm not casting you, like, I want you guys to work. So it's like, he really burnt the bridge that keeps on giving. So you played yourself. Congrats.
It's insane. I hope that money was well spent. What about during auditions? What are some of the mistakes? Like, can you watch an audition and like how quickly in can you tell, no, throwing this tape away? Like, what are some things that actors do in auditions that you were just like, next? Like, let's say, for example, background. How important is that against a white background versus, like, standing in their messy bedroom?
I like a clear background, but honestly, I'm going to keep it real. If you are what I'm looking for, I don't care if you're in a gas station or, you know, your car or your kid's dirty room. Like, if I need you, I'll just be like, hey, I need you to go outside where there is nothing and redo this. Send it back to me real quick.
You did that with me the other day. Exactly. And you were like, I was like, I'm in my car, I'm driving. You're like, I don't care. And I pulled over to a rest stop and I sent you a video. And
they loved you.
Thank you.
They ended up not going with that story.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying in general, like, I get what they're doing. So what are some of the mistakes that actors make in auditions though? Like,
I don't know. I've been in COVID for so long. I haven't done auditions in person in a while.
Or even in self-tapes.
I don't know. I mean, just like overacting, that's a thing. Like, you told us. Like, whoa. Like, ask questions ahead of time. I know a lot of times we don't give too much directions, but overacting. A lot of people who come from theater usually are like, what did I tell you? No. But television is like, we're talking here. So you don't, like in theater world, you're like, hi, I'm Emily, and magic fingers and all of that. But if you watch shows like The Wire, the acting is impeccable because it's so believable, because it's like, hi, I'm Emily.
It's natural.
Yeah. We don't have to project to the back of the room.
Tone it down.
Yeah, we don't have to do the magic fingers and demand everyone's. We don't gotta do all that. It's just, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Sometimes less is more.
Less is a lot more, and that way you can build it up. So if you don't have direction on an audition, I would try to do 2 different takes, and
do you like that?
One. Yeah. I would try to come somewhere in between, or do 2 takes where you are like over the top, not over the top.
Understated?
Yeah, understated, definitely. I think most, if it's television and the producer or director is pretty seasoned, they're going to like understate it and know that they have the ability to bring you up if they want. So, yeah.
Do you have any memorable, like, horrible things you've seen people do in audition where you just rolled your eyes and you were like, holy shit,
Submissions.
this is going in the archives?
More submissions, like some of the photos that I get, I'm like, I got to bring my confidence all the way. Like, I'm pretty confident, but these people are super duper confident. Like,
what are they doing?
Oh my God.
Sending you nudes?
Pretty much. Like, don't send me nudes, please. I'll fight you. Like, just like, I just tell women all the time, like, you guys are so beautiful. You don't have to do much. I mean, well, do the things, but just like the brows will be like, we call it the Sharpie brow, where it looks like you took a Sharpie and, you know what I'm saying? Or it's too much makeup. And, if you're playing yourself or on like a reality show, that's fine. But if you are on like a scripted series, you have to be molded into a character. And if you have all this makeup, they can't see the canvas that they can build you into this character or whatever. So lots of makeup is not good. Guys sending me shirtless, oiled up pictures and you haven't seen a gym probably ever. Don't do that.
Oh my.
Just like
you're always talking about on Instagram
over edited
about catfishing and,
yes.
and filters that people are submitting
yes.
with like filters and shit.
That is a big thing. Don't send me a video with filters. Don't send me pictures with filters because I don't know who I'm getting. You show up, I'm like, where is this person on this picture right here? I don't know who you are, sir. Like, no. And you had photos way back in the day that were over edited. And I was like, you look way better than your picture.
Thank you very much.
Because
I appreciate
it was
that.
like, yeah, you didn't need all that.
What a nice backhanded compliment.
No, it was
I'm
real.
fucking
though.
with you.
It was real.
No, it's
it was
true.
Real.
The truth is like when you're, I agree. You know what I mean? And it's again, everything that I learned in this industry is like, it's a lot of trial and error,
yeah,
right?
For sure.
So
and
a lot of it
been
was
great ever since.
Thank you. But you know what? Like a little secret, like, yes, I actually am taking my first ever set of professional headshots in the next couple of weeks. I found a really amazing photographer, but all my headshots, I just took them all myself in my bedroom.
Yeah.
That I've ever
and
submitted.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with unprofessional I'm not going to say unprofessional. I'm okay with pictures that you take yourself from your iPhone or, just with a basic background and, you can have a C-stand or whatever it's called.
Yeah, but headshots they're expensive. Your face is changing every 6 months, especially if you have a beard or whatever. And
you don't need them. Just look at a YouTube.
Whatever.
A YouTube video, see how they do their lighting for headshots and figure it out. Because you're going to be in this industry for a while. So that's something to invest into, and your camera on your phone, if you have a smartphone, is probably just as good.
Portrait mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some natural lighting.
Yeah.
I mean, you should do, I do photography. I'm bad with like the whole self-timer thing and whatever, but like when you're first starting out and you're kind of getting your feet wet with it, that's kind of what I went with. And then as you grow over time, your headshots look better and better, and I delete them like, holy shit. But like, you were right. My old headshots from a few years ago were not that great.
Not that great.
So thank you. No, but you know what? And that's like feedback that like actors appreciate. At least for me, I can't speak for every actor. You know what I mean? But like, I like that you can, again, building yourself up in a smaller market is that a casting director like you instead of just writing me off completely and ignoring me, you will tell me this is not good. Come back, do better. And that way, that is an opportunity for growth, right? So instead, I could have been like, she didn't like my headshots. Like, I'm not going to work with her. Or I can be like, how are these? How are these? Until you get a yes. And then you know that you're not lying to me. And that when you say this is a good headshot, it looks fucking good.
Yeah.
You know, and it's something you can stand by. So, you know, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yay.
There goes for honesty. A couple more questions. We're running
90 minutes.
Shit, we'll just cut it in half. Alan wants to go to sleep. You want to go to sleep too.
Oh, I'm good.
Let's talk a little bit about scams in the industry.
Okay.
You know, because there are so many people out there who want to be actors, who want to be casting directors or whatever it is. It's like, how do you know, number one, if it's like a legitimate casting call, you know, not look like a casting couch situation.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about, where like you end up in because especially like they do prey on vulnerable young women and probably young men as well, but mostly, you know, females in the industry who are looking to make it big. And then, you know, and even if it is legit, like the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, like those were legit movies, but it was also still a casting couch kind of situation.
Yeah.
You know, and then aside from just the sexual abuse and sex trafficking that happens in the industry, what about like the scams, like, I don't even care saying it, like 99 agency, like I see ads for it all the time. Like if you are thinking about going to 99, like what's your opinion on that?
Well, I don't know enough about 99, but I know like whenever I post something, actors are always like, it's pretty much a scam. But if you have to pay, you have to know like the difference. So are you paying for photos? Are you paying to be booked? Are you paying to be cast? You never have to pay to be cast for anything. If anything, they'll take it out of your check, but you don't have to pay anything up front. You shouldn't pay to meet with the casting director. Now, if that casting director is giving you advice, looking over your headshots, and it's like a consultation, that's different than, oh, come in and I might cast you for something. Yeah, it's a fine line. There is so much free information out there, especially kids. Go with your parents. Parents, hold on tight to your kids because, you know, like human trafficking is a thing. So
yeah, scary.
Yeah, and I also believe like part of that Harvey Weinstein culture, that's where probably stage moms came from. And so like I feel like a lot of moms kind of like play the background, don't want to interject. You need to go as a mother, if you're trying to get your kid into acting, go every single place. Your kid should not be alone with someone else at any time. You know, you can watch from the side of the set, you can watch from the monitor, but they should not be going to any auditions and rehearsals overnight without you. Or, you know, no, it takes 5 seconds to ruin a kid's fucking life. Moms, you got one job. So don't go with that rhetoric. It's a lot of people who have different acting schools and they ain't done nothing and they're giving actors like terrible advice. Like, it might be a great place for a foundation to get what you need, but don't pay a whole lot of money. I mean, you can pay, but what are you going to get with that? Like, what were you going to say?
No, I have a lot to say. First of all, Netflix came under fire recently for that movie Cuties.
Ugh.
You know, what was your, I want to hear your hot take on that.
I didn't see it, but I don't like our kids, especially girls, being sexualized. And it basically was about some twerking team. I did not see it. However, I don't give a F about little girls being like, who wants to watch? Who is this for? Are we teaching our daughters to be thoughts? Like, give us other stories. Like, we have so much stories. That's why writers are so important, to get your story out. And it's like, now we don't need these huge agencies and networks because we have so many different platforms like YouTube. I've seen some amazing movies and films on YouTube and different things like that. But no, I'm not for over-sexualizing children.
So where if people want to get their start in acting, right? Because I did one time go to an open call for 99. This was years and years ago. I was here actually in D.C.
What
Essentially,
do those people look like?
what do they look like? So you go to like sort of this space kind of like work like a WeWork space or whatever it
Okay.
is, and you go into a room that's just full of people, right? And they have like a movie playing up on the screen like this, and you're in like rows, and then they have someone come out and they were like, blah blah blah. Do you want to be on TV? Do you want this? Do you want that? Well, do you
Is
know
it
what
like
you
the
need?
Disney scam where you go to the mall and wait in line and they're like, you, and
I don't know. I never
Okay.
went on a Disney casting call. You know,
okay,
I just
that's a scam, by the way.
Is
Do it.
yeah, all the stuff at the mall. I know because like you said before, like you don't walk down the street and go, you're a star. And it
Yeah.
has happened before to famous people.
I've done that for a Bachelor. I definitely have walked up on people like, hey, do you want to be on TV? I'm really not trying to date you or anything like that. But
love
do
that you
your
did that.
research. I had to go in gyms and look at people and look at their body. Because, like, in LA, a 10 in LA is different from a 10 in here.
I know.
So,
I'm
if
nervous
their
about
body
moving.
and their teeth, like, you start there and then you go to their career and stuff like that. So, I would just, like, hang out in gyms, and the gyms got to know me and would, like, give me tours. Like,
hilarious.
oh,
That
he has
is
a girlfriend, but
hilarious.
he's married, but they're going through a divorce. And like,
He's
they
gay,
would,
but get him on the show anyway.
yes. Like, they would, it was, yeah. But you can look
But-
people up and look up their IMDb.
Yeah.
You can Google people.
IMDb is a great start.
Yeah, for sure.
Dragonook connects.
Yeah,
Dragonook
but that's
is,
local, and I like it.
Right, that is local. That's a
but
DMV area.
Backstage.com.
But also Facebook. Now, like if you like Facebook pages, every casting director has a Facebook page,
Yeah.
and they just like, and that's again amazing changes for the industry where you can literally get so much work off of Facebook and
Yeah.
Instagram. You go Instagram live all the time talking about the projects that you're casting and stuff like that. And like, again, it's that influencer stuff we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
bringing in with the modern day. And like, we're cutting out the Harvey Weinsteins. We're cutting out the studio executives.
No one can blackball you. I mean,
Even the guy who made you pay $1,000, you may not hire him again, but he's still
I won't
working.
hire him
But
again.
he's still working.
he I don't know. He might be,
Right, but it's tricky these days.
yeah, F that guy. But, but I'm
Do
just
not
saying,
mess with
like,
Thea Washington.
You could do commercials, you can do corporate stuff, you can do like medical, like it's even I've cast for Harvard online courses and Stanford and
Yeah.
just so much stuff. Like it's so many different avenues to be a working actor, especially having prime location in Baltimore or the DMV area, I should say, more so. Yeah.
I want to talk about an important issue
Okay.
with you, and generally I try to be very apolitical as a person and on this show. No, for real, because there's so many. This is not a political podcast. This is
Okay.
not whatever. I like to just have conversations, and I value people's opinions. But I want to talk to you a little bit about representation in the acting industry as a whole, because you are a woman of color, and you have educated me a lot in any time that we've ever talked about so many things. So talk to me about why representation matters, why it matters to make sure that the people that you're casting to play the roles are authentically that role, because you don't have to be Jewish to play a rabbi. You don't have to be a paraplegic to sit in a wheelchair, right? You're acting, you're playing pretend. So why is it so wrong for someone to play a different race? And then why is it also is that we are about how that industry is changing?
So basically, when people find people like they're being lazy. If I'm going to get somebody, there are so many, I'm not going to say so many Jewish actors, but you have to do the work. If there is a paraplegic, there are paraplegic acting groups and clubs and different things, like it's important because a lot of these people are marginalized, and there are roles for them, so it should go to them first. Now, if somebody, gets injured and has to go into the wheelchair as a part of the story, that's when it's okay. But, yeah, I don't know if I would never get someone to play trans if they were not trans. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's like a very, very big deal now. Who was it? Scarlett Johansson. She was, cited to play a really big movie, like one of her highest paying films, and she was supposed to play a trans woman or man, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And she ended up dropping out because of all the backlash.
Yeah.
And
she should have never signed up for that, but it probably was a learning experience for her, just like I had to learn as well. Like, if it's so many trans and LG, it's whatever you can look for, and these people are talented. Like, if you look at Pose, oh my God, there are so many transgender, straight, gay, LGBTQIA, whatever out here, and they're not getting it depends. Some of them are not getting the roles because a lot of times the people, this is kind of like a weird take on it, but sometimes the guys that play the buff guys, may be LGBTQ. So it's like, I don't know, but
I think
specifically trans, I wouldn't. It's not okay.
Specifically
with
with trans though. Sorry for cutting you off. I think it was like this: if you're not gonna have Laverne Cox play a cis woman, then you can't have a cis woman play a trans woman. Meaning, if you want to even the playing field, and you want to start casting trans women to play parts that are not trans, and you're just evening out the playing field that they can now just apply for every female role, then fine. Let the best actor win.
Yeah,
but because there's so few of those roles already, it's like you want to reserve it for the people that, this is like their few chances to actually get to work.
Yeah, and of course, like, I'm not a part of that. I'm not trans, so I can't really speak on their behalf, just like a white person couldn't speak on my behalf as being, part of but I am a part of a marginalized community. But yeah, it's, you got to do the work. You got to find the people, and yeah.
And has the industry been changing with how it's going now with representation and African Americans?
I know the thought that I was going to say. I was going to say it should be more about, it shouldn't just be about their gender. Can a person play trans, or a person play Muslim or Jewish without it being like a trope? You know what I mean? Like
a stereotype.
Yeah, a stereotype. Like, can they, like, I just worked on a beautiful movie with Nala called Patriot Day, and it was about a Muslim girl, but it wasn't about, it showed her in like a human throughout her day during 9/11. So it's like characters need to be a little
pull from real experiences,
but just like not about that one thing.
Right. There's an amazing documentary on Netflix called One of Us.
Yes.
You've seen it?
Yes, I have.
So that's a little bit of like the way that I grew up, like with those, the schools that I went to were those people. And one of them is an actor who like lives in his van or whatever it is. And his niche is that he goes for all the Jewish roles because he's fluent in Yiddish. I'm fluent in Yiddish as well. But it's like, that's his cornered market because he authentically lived that life. So he can play it well and play it correctly. But I love that you also said something about tell me about the difference between like not just like how different African American people, not everyone can play the same. So I want to hear that from you.
Yeah, so being the Black experience, especially in America, is not a monolith, but just anywhere. So we have a lot of times we see people in roles, and I'm like, somebody who wasn't Black, probably cast them that because you don't put. There's a difference between like a Tupac and like a Carlton Banks from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, who's like the elite, bougie, probably hasn't stepped foot in the hood and probably rolls his car up during certain neighborhoods. Like, there is a difference in knowing the dialects in different areas regionally. A lot of people don't know that because to them sometimes, there are amazing people who know, but a lot of times to other people that aren't a part of that group, it all just sounds the same. And, me, I'm like, no, that's not how we say it, or no one here says that. So it's important for, Black stories to be told and, writers and things like that, but also hire casting directors that, one, either will do the work to find those people, or two, that are a part of that community. Because you're not going to know, because he's not going to say, yeah, I'm not a thug. You know, I can't channel a thug. You know, if he's enunciating and all that stuff like that, 'cause
Right.
he wants the role. So I'm not mad at him, but you have to know those people or do some research or just see about us. Go
So
where we are.
it's not enough to just put like an African American person in an African American role. It's like if you are looking for a Kenyan man, you want someone with a Kenyan accent, not someone from Baltimore City,
Right.
and vice versa.
Right.
And it's not just you can just put in African American. It's like
Yeah.
different dialects, different a Southern
Absolutely.
Baptist black person versus, and it's amazing because a lot of white people watching TV or movies, they wouldn't know the difference,
Right. Right.
But I think that's really, really important to know, and I would never have thought of that.
Yeah.
Is that it's not just about African American representation; it's about African American people playing their type of African American that they are.
Or I mean, it is some acting into it, but are they really acting like that role? Like, are they believable? Because it's a lot of people that play thugs or gangsters. I'm like, I don't believe you. You know, I probably be myself. Like, no.
And it's a part of that isn't in acting. It's about knowing yourself. I cannot pull off the jock, the college, jock, the playboy. It's not me. I end up just playing the asshole all the time and someone angry. I don't know what that says about me, but
okay.
I got that edge.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about knowing what you can pull off and how to be authentic. Anything that any last closing thoughts that you want to add in before we wrap it up?
Yeah. So, like you said, the importance of representation is so important. Like, if I would have known that I could have been a PA in college, which is a production assistant on a set, versus, I mean, I loved being a bartender. I'm still like friends with my old patrons or whatever, but it's very important to see yourself in these roles and be exposed to different things. There's a camp called Camp Good Life by J.T. Davis, who's a super producer in the industry. And it basically is a camp to take kids from underserved areas, mainly Baltimore and D.C. for now. They're currently expanding. And we take them up to the mountains. And they can't go to the pool because you can do that around your way. We take them kayaking, zip lining, all the things, expose them to new stuff. But the best part is we have so many different directors, producers of color. Me, I'm a casting director. And we tell them about our careers. And we also let them use the same equipment that we use on set. We let the kids use it absolutely free and show them how to either make a documentary or make a music video or, just do certain things. We even had a coding group. So campgoodlife.org is so important because if I saw people or even knew that this would be a career, imagine how much further I would be.
I would have killed to have gone to a camp like that.
Oh my, me too.
Right?
Me too.
Like I said, but much better than sitting in Quick Check, reading the People magazine, seeing the behind the scenes.
You're touching the equipment, and it's just so important, and the impact that it makes on the kids is just like everything. Like now that they know, they can hyper focus and figure out which career they want. And but they are doing amazing things at Camp Good Life. It's
amazing.
Yes.
We're gonna link it all down below. Honestly, Thea, I could talk to you for days.
Same.
You need to come back. We need to do like another
Yes,
follow-up episode a little
I
bit
would
down the
love to.
line. Like I think once a month, just like we're gonna keep you an open time slot.
Yeah.
Come on in. We're gonna talk about what's happening. You should have your own show. I've been saying this for years. But in the meantime, if you want to see more of Thea, where are the people gonna find you?
You can come to my Facebook page, Thea Washington Casting. That's where I post a lot of my castings and others for my friends and colleagues. I'm on Instagram all the time at Thea Washington Casting, and my business page is Washington Casting. I'm going to be posting more stuff on there, I promise. And my website is www.theawashingtoncasting.com, and then I also have a Washington Casting. I'm tweaking both of them right now, but it is up there. And if you want to submit to me, send me 4 to 6 photos that look like you, that aren't over photoshopped, along with your name, your age, your location, your sizes, your height, and your bio. and resume reel if you have it. If you don't have a reel, I'll take some links or a Slate video of you introducing yourself and telling me all about you and how I can't wait to work with you. But send that to castbythea@gmail.com. Again, that's castbythea@gmail.com.
Amazing. It's going to be all linked down below. You are the best of the best. Thank you for coming on the show today. Honestly,
thank you for having me.
This has been such a treat. I love every time we get to hang out. Don't be a stranger. Send regards to your boyfriend. Say hello to Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
And as always, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of It's My Job to Know Yours. As always, I'm your host, Red Younger. Please make sure to subscribe on YouTube, to like us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever you find us, all the socials, stream our podcasts, look up all of our other episodes. It's always a good time. Thank you so much. Red Younger here. We out.
Well, I just did my job, so now it's time for you to do your job, which is to hit that subscribe button. Because if you don't do your job, I'm going to lose my job, and let's face it, I'm qualified for nothing.